Well, let's see. Tonight is the third night of the intensive, so just wanted to take some time and working on my paper and visiting with my roommate Bridget. Um, but I wanted to do my reflection, and it's just been a great day. I think I'm amazed at how tired I am, and we didn't really like do anything physical, but just mentally. But in a good way, not necessarily a negative tired, more of a good tired. And then being out in the sun, I know for me, when I'm in the sun, that just kind of drains you, makes you feel a little bit dehydrated, things like that. So um, I was really looking forward to this day, especially just because I've had some experience with horses, but it's been really limited. So normally, like we had some neighbors that had horses, and we would just go and ride, and they would kind of give you like the basics. But I remember just being like really scared and just afraid of them because they were so huge, and so I would just stand back until they got the horses ready and really didn't pet them or do anything, and then we would go for a ride. And it wasn't bad. They would put me on the easy one, and it kind of trotted along. But as far as having like any kind of connectedness with the horse or anything, I never experienced that before. So I was really looking forward to seeing what you do, Professor Mayfield, for your job, and hear about equine and therapy, and just kind of learn about it. So I think I learned a lot about myself today, just like, for example, with the exercise that we did where we were in a circle. And I think the hardest thing for me, it wasn't necessarily stepping in the circle. It was just, I just felt like that I would just be actually too heavy. And so, like, thinking about that, that my problems are just too much, or my issues are just too much for everybody else. So I guess I've just have a tendency to kind of hold everything in and not be willing to share with other people, because I feel like it's just going to be too much for them. But I noticed when everybody else was, when I was one of the ones pushing, everybody, I wanted to be able to touch them and be able to push them. And so the more I thought about that, I want people to share their problems with me and talk to me about it. And because I want that, then I should, give everyone the opportunity and the privilege of hearing the things that I'm struggling with, so they can help me. So I, it's kind of, I don't know, not necessarily eye-opening, but just, just a little bit huge for me, just to think along those lines. And then when we got to actually be in the arena with the horses, I, realized, something else about myself. But when we sat for lunch, I, purposely walked by myself and wanted to find kind of a shady spot. And I was actually kind of surprised. I didn't sit there and think, man, I wish I had my cell phone so I could text, or I wonder what everybody's doing on Facebook, or anything like that. I did think about a little bit about like schoolwork and stuff, but I was able to push that away, and just kind of felt connected with God, and just sitting out there. And I took my shoes and socks off and just kind of relaxed and slowly ate my lunch and looked around, and paid attention to the grasshoppers and things like that around me, and just was kind of there with God. And so that's kind of a big deal for me too, because I don't always take the time to just sit and be with God. And I don't know, I kind of felt like he was just talking to me and just saying, you need to do this more with me. And we just had spiritual formation, and just kind of finishing that up and reading about my temperament, and reading about the different spiritual disciplines and things like that. I don't do well with solitude and things. I do better with like writing down my thoughts, like journaling and things like that. So it was nice though to just kind of sit out and connect with God. during that time. And about the time I went to put my shoes back on is when I heard the horn honk. So, but I was kind of surprised actually that I didn't feel like I needed to keep my mind occupied or something, because it really didn't wander. And then we went in, and you invited us in, and it was just an awesome experience. I know I was nervous walking up to the horse, and I was so thankful to be with Rita and with Johnny. And, but the closer I got, I felt a little bit more at ease. And then, I was able to put my hand on her and stroke her a little bit, and she wasn't, antsy or anything like that. But then I think you came by and I went and got the brushes and stuff. And so when I came back, Johnny used one of the brushes and was brushing her, and then Rita was like, you can finish on one side and then move to the other side, and I was going to do the other side of Dazzles, who we had. And so as soon as I touched her, she was just very jumpy, really jumpy. And so I tried a couple more times, and Rita just kind of said, what do you got going on? What are you bringing? And I said, I don't really know. I don't really feel like I'm bringing anything. But I knew that there was something, though, I could tell. And so I kind of just pulled my hand back, and she was like, good, it's good that you realize that you need to just kind of step back. And so I ended up not, brushing her. She said, why don't you try brushing her mane? And so I did that. I took and used the hairbrush, and she calmed down. So in looking at, after we went through the exercise of walking the horse around and doing the different north, south, east, and west, and talking about all of those things, I can tell that she was a mirror of me, and I was just nervous. And I know now that I was nervous because I just worry too much what people think, and I worry that if people are looking at me, or am I going to do it right, am I going to mess up? And I guess I want that validation. I don't need, I shouldn't need it, and I don't need it. But I guess I, want it. I think I felt, even since the last intensive, that I just don't fit in. And, I feel like I'm not connecting with anybody. And maybe I was having a little pity party for myself, but I think by being there with her and being able to touch her and realize that that's what it was, at one point I was talking to Johnny about it, and kind of saying that, and Dazzle just kind of, I was stroking her, and she kind of just turned her head and put, her nose right on my shoulder. And I just kind of felt like she was saying, you don't need validation from everybody else, because, you can do this. You just need God, and that's it. You don't have to have it from anybody else, and you are, you matter. And I guess I felt in the past, I don't matter, or I haven't mattered, and so it was just really nice for that awareness. The word, well, actually I didn't write one word. I wrote on the rock that I matter, and I was talking to Bridget about it on the way back, and she suggested, value, because I was struggling trying to come up with a word to, express what I wanted to keep the positive. But so I wrote I matter, and so value, is what she suggested. And so I was just going through some scripture, and Romans 12:2, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. And I think that goes along with that word, because it doesn't matter what other people think about me, and I'm not supposed to be conformed. God has transformed me, and so I am, just thankful. And I thank you so much for the opportunity, today to do that, because I think I would have just continued to go along and feel like that I don't matter, and I'm just kind of here going through the motions. So it was good to know I do matter, and I believe that. I'm not just saying it. As far as, rating myself, a self-assessment for today, I'm going to give myself a 4 again, just because I know that I was completely out of my comfort zone in a lot of things. But there were some more stuff that I could have shared, so I'm not going to give myself a 5. So 1 being I didn't step out of my comfort zone at all, and 5 that I did. So I'm going to give myself a 4 for today. But it was just a great day, and just thank you again for the opportunity.